Hello there and welcome. So today we are making this cheeky little doorstop. It's a sheep, okay? I know. I love him though, I think he's great. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. We need a sewing machine. We need something to stuff him with. I've got a selection of scrap material. I've got some tartan left over. And this is a little bit of black fleece, but you could use felt. I just wanted a bit of definition on his hands and his feet. I've got leatherette. This is, well, there's quite a lot of it here actually, but it is from another crafting project. And I've got what's described as poodle fur. Now, I'm sure the reason is because they can't say it's lamb's wool, because then people will go, well, what's it made out of? It's made out of nylon. To make the pom-pom maker, I'm using a pom-pom maker to make the pom-pom on the top. So I've got a little bit of wool as well, and I've got scissors, pens, I've got paper here to do the pattern on. I will put these drawings up on Facebook. I do have a page there, and I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you enjoy making him, and yeah, thank you ever so much for watching. So, hello there. I've got everything I need around me. I feel like I'm sitting in a pile of mess, but it's all good. Now, for the Easy Sew this week, we made this little puppet. I think he's adorable, but, you know, my family are like, well, he doesn't look much like a lamb. So, yes, we're going to make him look more like a lamb. Alright, so I'm putting him away now. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the clothes. Now, I'm making a kilt. In fact, I'm making two kilts. And what I'm going to do is literally cut it in half and hem the bottom so that I'll have two kilts. Now, to do that, basically, I am just picking up every 2 inches a 1 inch pleat. Now, it makes sense to me. I can't imagine what that looks like to anyone else, but it looks right from the far side, and I'm sure it'll all be fine. Now, I've got some scrags of tartan. Obviously, you can make clothes however you want, and you don't need to clothe them, you know. It's just that I am. So that's all I'm doing. A couple of reverse stitches, and then I'm pulling out the thread completely. And I think that's that, really. So I'm going to pick a line halfway through, and I'm going to trim it. Oh, and I did this by eye, so I know that it's quite rough. It's fine. It's fine. So there we go. So there's one skirt. Kill. Get murdered. And I've got a waistband. So I'm literally just going to sew that on, and I'm going to push all these pleats to one side, and then it'll look more kilt-like. So I'll do that off camera, because I know you can do that. Lovely. Now okay. These door stops, I know you've seen them, and I know you've seen them at the beginning. I believe that they wear out the most, if I just use Matey Boy to demonstrate, is because people pick them up by the head, or people pick them up by their ear. And obviously we need to weight it so that it doesn't, so it keeps the door open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a handle on the back. Now, I had a little think about this, and I was going to make a little rucksack. And then I thought, well, why don't I make him a little waistcoat? Because we can do that. Yes, I do feel like we've got too much to work with here, so I was tempted just to cut off a piece. Now, as we know, a waistcoat is arms, and then it comes down like that at the back, and then it goes like that. So, waistcoat for the front, being very wasteful here, but that's okay, comes down at the neckline. We've got a little bit of shoulder, we've got an armhole, for the little arms, and we've got a bit down the side, and then we've got V, yeah? So, and then for the handle, all I'm going to do is cut out a rectangle. Now, I don't know if I can get away with keeping these seams blind or not, but I must admit we can give it a go. So lovely. I'll put these basic shapes on Facebook, and I will do it this time. I know I never did with the taffeta dress. It was just, yes, very busy week for me, which is not it's not yours to worry about, I'm sure you. Here we go. So I think I'm going to make his head a bit bigger, because it is bigger than I've actually drawn. So let's just do that. Lovely. Now I like the idea of him being a bit wonky, so don't worry about that. And I've had a thought about how to make him look more lamb-like. What I'm going to do is give him a black face, so pretty much basically a figure of 8 shape. And I'm going to give him fluffy ears because of I just thought they'd be too bulky to sew. Now I suppose the best thing I could have done was use this back that I've just cut out as a template, but that's fine. I didn't, so I won't worry about it. Ooh. So there we go, we've got his little waistcoat. I'm going to cut this in two, because it's not going to button up or anything. I'm not expecting it to. And there we go, we're going to sew that on there like that. So that's going to be like that. I'm going to run some stitches along here and then just sew it to the back, probably sew it to the back like that, so that it's got a handle. You don't need to see me sew a running stitch, do you? You can see what I'm talking about, and we will explain it more. No, I don't know. So I've got my pile of bits that are done. As I said, we're going to use this pattern that I used for the glove puppet. I know, but I like it. We've got loads of fabric to work with. So, I don't even think I need to draw this out. It's basically the puppet, and then I want a body, which is going to be probably panelled, and then yes. So, and then his waistcoat and his skirt, and I'm going to give him a couple of arms and legs. I was thinking what I'll do with... Have I got the right pattern? Yeah, I think I have. Maybe. So, don't need to worry about the body. I'm going to do arms. I was going to give him some little feet as well, because I have got some black fleece. This is basically the back, and then we've got the dome of the head, which is not quite as big as that. When I was sketching him out before I started, I was having a lot of problem with Gollum. Everything I did seemed to look like Gollum, which is just terrible. So what if I do that, and then I will cut out a circle to match, and that will be my base. So we've got the back, we've got the base. We need the face and a front, and a couple of ears, and then we can finish off couple of ears and yeah, feet. Can't think what else we need. I'm sure we need something. Okay, so for this I'm going to cut the arms, and I'm going to make the chin, because I still want it to come out like it would in a puppet, because that will give a bit more depth to his face. So that will be the same as that. I will copy that actually rather than guess that. For the feet, actually I'll use a dressmaker's pencil for the feet. So for the feet, what I'm going to do is do a line, and then I'm going to cap the men off with a feet. Now what I want him to do is sort of sit and splay down. So I'll need 4 feet, as it were. Then I'll need a figure of 8 for the face, so that I can put his eyes on, and that'll make him like more sheep-like. Okay, so I've got my cutting out to do. I think we're all up to date. Probably makes no sense at the moment, and oh, I won't forget to cut out the ears. Alright, thank you. So I've got all my bits neatly laid out, everything I think I'll need. I always work on the theory that if you sew the bits together and then sew the main body. So although I don't need to do the clothes yet, what I'm going to do is start with the clothes. If you bought something from a shop, maybe the clothes were sewn in and they were part of the material. You know, the main fabric of the garment. Now, I'm not actually going to do that. I'm going to use fabric and then dress in, because I just think it's a lot easier. A lot easier. So what I'm doing here is I'm sewing the back of the waistband onto the kilt, making sure all these pleats are pushed flat. And what I have here is a strip of fabric that's the length of the whole quilt. I cut it out at the same time. Kilt, not quilt, not skirt. Kilt. So lovely. Yeah, I just thought, well, I won't work it out. I'll just do it. So I'm having a lot of problems at the minute bending needles, so do bear with me if you see me faffing. It's just literally switching the camera on and I go slightly skewy, so Now, so I've sewn the back, I'm going to sew the front, literally fold it over and then tuck it in, so nice and easy. It does need to be tidy because he's going to be in my front room for probably, knowing me, a good few years before I make something else. And there we are. And the nice thing about using scraps, no matter what you do, is you've kind of got a memory tucked in there as well, so now this will be the front of the kilt. This will be the apron, so probably need to spend more time getting the seam straight here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it now. So yeah, it is a bit more wasteful, and I could have done the maths, because for a kilt you need 4 times the fabric of the length of your hips, the widest part of your body. Yeah, so I'll let you do that. Well, you need 4 times the width round the outside, but not round the front, then you just need 2. So but I'm literally sewing what I have got. So there we go. Quite happy with that. That's going to be my quilt. kilt, and then I will sew it round like that. And if I can find something to make a little buckle, then I will do. I have no idea, I just can't think of anything that I can even take one off. I'm just doing a hemline on it actually, just because I don't want to have to come back and do it. So I'm going on the back, and I'm just folding it up. Lovely. So that's half done. I will come back to that because it's quite boring for you, and I am aware of that. So what I do want to do is get the face done as well, and I want to sew the ears together. Now what I'm doing is the black is going to be slightly smaller than the white, so I am going to start off lining it up. Yep, that's right way around. Now there is such a thing as a ballpoint needle. I have been able to get them from the past, and they're what you're supposed to use if you're sewing fur fabric. Now I haven't been able to get them for now, and the machine is coping fine, and in fact it's coping better with the fur than it is with the other fabrics. So just bear in mind that, you know, if you're going to do a lot of soft toys, then it might be worth your while investing in some ballpoint needles for your sewing machine. So I need to turn my ears inside out, and hopefully I've left a big enough hole. There we go. So that's cute. Is that cuter? Yes. Yeah, you see I bond with things. It's terrible. Alright, let's get this face done. So, there's the face. Now I want to put the eyes in, and I'm going to start off the hole with scissors, but I also want to have my little face in there as well. So let's do that all in one go. And it's best not to do too big a hole, but obviously you've just got to do what you can. You are supposed to be able to just push them through, so, oh, there's the hole. I knew there was a hole. Now these eyes, safety eyes, I can buy them at any haberdashery. It just depends, you know, I might not be able to get the right size, exactly what I want, if I want giant cat's eyes. So I usually just make do with what I've got. I suppose you can buy them safely on the internet. You know, some things you can buy on the internet. I've never bought fabric on the internet till now. I'm waiting for a delivery. So, that's exciting for me. Okay, so I've got the eyes on. Lovely. And I don't know. I can run some stitches around there just to hold it flat. It looks more like a monkey to me now. And one thing I definitely need to do is I need to put, this is the mouth on the other side of the body. So I need to sew that together to about these points, and then I can sew the body together, because I'm still going to have like a little mouth. Oopsie. Like next time I stop filming, I might actually change machines. I thought this one would be okay. Okay, so let's get these feet done. Because once I've got everything done, then I can sew it all to the body. Now I'm going to give him stumpy little legs that are going to sort of splay out. I suppose the sewing technique is pretty much the same as sewing ears. But I do want him to have little black feet, because that would be adorable. So I've got my black circles, and I've got my bigger than I need. And this is just a simple matter. I've got the circle on top, and I'm going to pick it up, do a couple of stitches, and let it swing around naturally. So you'll see that it will start to pick up. I've given myself a limited hemline because a seam allowance, sorry, because I don't want it too bulky. Wonkiness is a good thing, I'm sure, but I don't want too much wonkiness. So that's basically what it is. I'm going to leave these just so I can literally continuously sew when I sew onto the arms, so they'll cap there. Okay, so I've got those to do. I will be sewing these on afterwards because I'll need all four. I'll need this sewn together before I can sew that end on, if that makes sense. Hockey cookie. So I've got a bit of sewing. Anything else I can do? Make the waistcoat, can't I? Make the waistcoat. Oh yes, I was going to show you this, wasn't I? Because of I don't think I can fold this round. I might be able to fold it like that and sew it. Yeah, I'll do that. And then I can keep this in flat on the inside. But I do want a handle. I stick with what I say, that people tend to pick dolls and teddy bears up by their ears, and, well, not dolls, unless they've got a horror doll, huge ears. So, what I'm going to do is pull this through a bit, because it's not got anything to grip on, because it's quite thin, and then I'm going to reverse it. Now, I've sewn this sort of leatherette before, and it actually sews really well. I was really surprised. Obviously, there's no reason why you can't do a cotton or anything. Yeah, so there we go. Let's have a look. There we are. That's all I'm doing. I'm literally folding over a little stitch there. So, and I might even do that in a different colour. Alright, well, it's been a pleasure. Let's get everything sewn up that we need to. So I need to finish my waistband, and I need to sew my other ear, and I need to sew all my feet, and then I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, so I've been busy. I'm just sewing on a nose for the little lambkin. I could do this later. I could do this when it's finished, but I'm doing it now so that I can get the knot and everything on the inside, and I can do it as tidily as quickly as possible, because I'm not very good at sewing. I'm not very good at embroidery at all. Okay, so that's that done. I've sewn all my feet, and I've sewn all my ears, and I've got my little legs, but I did want to just finish this off with you. So what we've got is one layer of leatherette, and then the fold of leatherette, which would be another 3 layers, and then I'm literally folding over the bottom as well, so we've got another 3 layers as well. So, you know, you'd think the machine would go no, but let's give it a go. Okay, I'm not pushing. Alright, well, I am holding it steady though. There we go. Now, it's having more trouble with the actual height of the fabric than it is the sewing of the fabric. So, you know, don't be put off. I'm sure it does terrible things to your needles, like blunt them, but, you know, it's not too bad, is it? So that's that done, and that will sit on the back there. So, but of course I'll need to tidy it up a bit. I'm just not doing that yet, because I might need to make it smaller. So there we go. I have got that. I do want to give him a bit of oomph to his face, so I'm going to cut a little, well, I'm going to sew a little dart in. Now this is the face, and this is the dart. So I'm going to make sure I go right to the thing. That's why I'm cutting it afterwards, and a little bit of reverse stitching. I'm going to sweep the pile of the fabric inwards so I don't have to do it all afterwards. And that's all I'm going to do. I don't even need to trim that really, because of it's going to be inside, but it's just going to give him a little bit of depth. Oh, I did that so badly. Anyway. Definitely going to have character, this little chap, that's for sure. So that's that done. I do need to do my feet. These are my legs, sorry. So I've got the circle, then I've got the band outside, I've got the rectangle of fur, because he's going to have little stumpy legs, and this is so that this is the right side, seam to seam. Now, I'm going to make sure I'm not actually sewing on the fluff, and I'm going to sew on the fabric. Every seam I do from now on, what I'll do is turn it over and just check that I haven't sewn the fluff. And go over it. I can go over it from the other side. So I'm sort of teasing this round, making sure that I've got no puckers in it, but I'm making sure that it meets up. Oh no! Because when you're doing these little fiddly things, you can kind of pull it in a way, so you can misshape it naturally. Okay, just checking that I didn't come off. And that goes like that. So there's his little dinky trotter. So this needs now just to be sewn along the long sleeve seam. I think I'll be drinking, haven't you? Now this is the easy foot. The difficult foot is when you're doing it on the main body. So, well, we do want them to look nice. I'm just making sure that my circle is matching up and that the seams of the white are matching up, because that would look bad if they weren't. So, let's have a look. Oh, got fluff in my eye. There we go. So I've matched up the seams, although I've got bits of fluff tucked in them. So we've got one little trotter. Now the way I'm doing this is I'm going to put a bit of stuffing in him now, and then I'm going to just sew him onto the main body, so they sort of stick out right at the bottom. So only a little bit of stuffing. I don't need it to be podgy, but I do need to keep its shape. So there we are. Oh, there's a trotter. And I'll just do this one without actually talking, so that I'm ready for the next step, which I'm sure is going to be much more interesting. Yeah, maybe I should have done one foot off camera. I was thinking, am I up to date? Am I up to date? Have I got all my pieces? Because I don't want to miss an interesting step, but obviously I don't want to bore you to death. And I'm like every sewer, I suppose. If I rush, then I might make a mistake, so... Yeah. Actually, I'm going to advise you to start at the black if you do make trotters, just because it's going to be easier to line it up for you. Okay, and I'm going to check this in to see that I'm not actually just sewing fluff. I'll push the pile in though, so we drop the laser. I've done that one worse than the first one. Oh well, we're going to keep that at the back anyway, so nobody will see it. Nobody would know except for me. And I'm just going to grab a handful of fluff. Bigger handful this time. Stuffed a little foot. Put that to the side. Now, so we've got everything we need to sew the main body. Now we have the head, which is slightly bigger, so we're going to have to make sure that we do a bit of puckering. We can leave a mark on there so that we know that this is the centre and these two have to meet up. So if I put that there, I'm sure this will be quite a clue. And I also need to know where my ears are going to be. Now my ears should be in line with my eyes, sort of slightly up. So I'm going to put a mark there as well, and that's going to tell me where my ears are going to be. And I need to remember that my ears are, so the black side is facing the face, as it were. Okay. Now with these sleeves, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to sew the feet on with, I'm going to sew this, so I'm going to do the head now, and then I'm going to sew the feet on, because otherwise it's going to be too fiddly. So, and sewing the head on is fiddly enough. In it like. Sorry, I do come from North London. Ish. So there we are. I'm making sure that all my joins join. I'm making sure that the pressure of the foot is not pushing the fabric out of the way. And I'm going to double expect to have to re-sew things, okay? From the other side. I'm going to expect that I'm going to just sew fluff. Now you can give yourself more hem allowance than I'm giving myself. I don't know why it didn't even occur to me. Give yourself more seam allowance and then trim it afterwards. So I need to get all this material to meet up. I'm now going over the dart pucker. I didn't sew the ear in, did I? What am I like? So lovely. Let's see how we're doing. So, except for the ear, and a bit tight, okay. Okay, I can cheat this ear by lining it up and then just running over them with the machine. So I'm going to push that as close as I can. That's nowhere near. Okay, yes, I suppose it's best that I make the mistakes rather than you. It's just complaining. It will do it. It will sew that much. So lovely, that side's alright. I need to get this side with a bit more fabric. Because what I've done is, because I sewed there, I've sewed all the way down there, so I haven't got enough to go round. There we go. So let's give him another go. Okay, so I've just gone over the hem of the pucker, and there we go. I'm pushing the fabric and making sure that I'm not losing any fabric. And I'm just coming up to the point where I need to put my ear in. So I'm going to make sure my black bit is next to, or in line at least, with my eye. I'm going to put the needle down and lift the foot, and I'm going to slide it under the foot. This is just to keep it where I plan. If I try to hold it, because fabric fur really stretches, then I might not end up with it where I want. So everything is in place. All I need to do now is I need to run down over here. It really wants to, and then I need to match up my sleeves. So, which is easy enough. Okay, so double check. It's best to check these things now. I do want to know that my ears are quite level, because a little bit of character is not a bad thing, but a lot of character is just weird, isn't it? So there we go. We've got the top of the arms, we've got the face, and we've got that all done. So okay, next step, let's get these feet put on these arms. So what I've got now is I've got a length of fabric, and I need to sew sorry, my brain's not working. There we go. So I need to sew my feet on. Now my feet are slightly bigger than the fabric I've got of the arms, so I'm going to have to either re-sew my feet, or I'm going to have to do some puckering. So let's just give it a go with some puckering. No, 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 no. So I've got right side to right side. Oh, what am I doing? So I've got right side to right side. I'm going to leave that out a little bit so that I've got it to hem. I'm not going to start right at the edge so that I've got hem allowance. And there we go. I'm literally holding my fur down and I'm pushing the black fabric, fleece fabric, under. I'm going quite slowly on the machine. I do have a bad habit of resting my foot on the machine, and I'm sure you can hear it. That's a complaining noise. When I do that, it doesn't like it. So there we are, just coming to the end now. And I will double check that I've not just sewn fluff as well. Okay. Lovely. So, does it make sense? Makes no sense to me. Okay, so just ignore me doing that. Okay, it wasn't very lined up. Yeah, I didn't match those up very well. So I'm just going to turn my hoof inside out, and I'm going to start to sew. So again, not going to sew right to the edge because I need that as a seam allowance. There we go, just coming up to the end. Lovely, lovely, lovely. All caught up at the back, the released foot of the foot. Not the first time I've ever done that. Okay, cocky. So now what I need to do, do you think I'm going to cut those off? I think you know me very well already. There we go, let's fold those over. Everything's now going inside out. All I need to do is I need to run round, sew the feet in, and then I can stuff and put the... I was going to say rice, but I'm going to put something else in, which I am, jumping ahead. So all I've got here is I've got my foot, my leg from earlier, tucked in. I've made sure that the nicest side is facing forward to the face, and I've given myself probably half an inch at the bottom just to sew, and of that half an inch I'm going to not sew a quarter of an inch so that I can use it for sewing in of my base. Good boy. So I just come off the end of my leg now, and I'm going to go to the corner of, I'm going to say arm, okay, I mean front leg, and there we go. I'm going to try and match up my fur so that I finish sewing the fur at the same point, and then I'm going to sew my hoof. There we are. I'm just going to help it go over that seam. Sometimes your feet will actually get caught in fluff. It's quite funny. Well, it's not. It's quite annoying. So there we go. Just coming up to the last bit there. So, of course, I'm going to double check that I've actually caught the fur all the way round and that both sides of my leg are in. So let's go to the other side. Check the nicest part of my foot. So I'm going to keep my seam at the back. And there we go. Tuck these in so that they don't get caught up. I'm not going to forget to leave myself a quarter of an inch. It doesn't even need to be that, but there we go. Make sure my legs are level. Sorry, tickles me. The things you have to say, you know, but there we go. Oh, my machine's getting excited. Yeah, if I don't do that every now and again, if it comes off and it goes to the tensioner, and then you're left thinking, why is it not sewing? Why is it not sewing? Because all it does is pucker it up at the bobbin. So I know, I've got to keep an eye on it. Lovely. Just turning to do the end of the arm. Of course, matching up the white or sequin, and then I'm just going to go over that seam, which it doesn't like, and I'm going to sew my hoof. Sew my hoof. Oh, there we go. It's going nicely. So, where are we? Lovely. Everything's caught. That's great. Whoa! An ugly lamb. Okay, so I'm going to pop out his feet. I don't need to check actually. Lovely. And there's where we are with his arms that I'm not going to do for now. So we're on the exciting bit now. So we need to stuff him. Got some stuffing. Whatever you've got really. I'm naughty. What I do is I buy human pillows and then I use that for all my stuffing. And no, I don't need to stuff him just yet. Ooh. How do you cope? How do you cope with me? So there we go. That's the hole we've got left. That's the circle we've cut. What were we thinking? There's no way, is there? So stitching. Mention fluff and I'm away. So there we go. I'm just cutting a circle. It's exciting. There we are. Now it's a nice oval, which is good because that's what I wanted. And literally, I'm going to sew around again, like I did with the hoof. I'm going to leave the front part sewn. This is so that I can keep that as nice and neat as possible. And I'm going to leave a hole in the back so that I can stuff it. Lovely. Okay, so I'm making sure I don't catch anything as I'm going round. Now I suppose if I had enough fabric, I would sew this in like a canvas, just because, you know, I need that rigidity to keep it flat. So when you're leaving stuffing holes as well, I would recommend that you don't leave them over a seam. So you leave them over the base, as it were. So I've sewn my seams, so it's just literally the back. So there we go. So I need to unpuck my arms, which I know I've done quite a small hole for. But determined to do. Yes, you can use a knitting needle or anything like that. It is coming through, it's just coming through a bit slower than I would like. So what I'm doing is I'm forcing the fabric through the hole, but trying not to push all the fabric through in one go. So I'm sort of trying to just ease it really, because I don't want to stretch it, I don't want to pop a seam. I do know the hole's quite small, but it's coming out. It has no choice. So it's an integral part of the whole toy. Oh, I'm going to try the other one. I'm probably finding I'm poking it in the wrong place. Oh well. Here we go. It is coming through on this side a bit easier. And there we are. It's got a little hoof. It's got a little arm. And I can take the face off. It might have been nicer in a grey. I do actually have some white fleece as well, so I can actually just ease that off and then do them again on yes. Okay, well, I've just heard a knock at the door, so I'm going to have to go. But we're up to date. I'll be back in a sec. Yes. Well, that was exciting. It was a parcel for my neighbour. How cruel is that? So I've actually used a pen just to push this through, and as this is the final push, as it were, then I want all my edges pushed out. So there we go, we've got a sheep, and it's got a black mask. I'm going to tack it down. I don't know if that's scary or not. Okay, so there we go. We're going to start stuffing. Now you do need a bit of oomph to it. Now when I was in my kitchen cupboard, I was going to get a bag of rice, and I was going to seal it in a bag with gaffer tape or some sort of tape so that there's no way it can get water in. And I thought, well, why am I using my posh rice when I do have a bag of rice that I bought, well, for the dogs actually, because they weren't very well. And then I found this. It's probably out of date. I do every now and again buy health food. I never eat them. So yeah, I thought, well, I can use that. And because it's never been opened, it's got the factory seal on it still. So I thought, well, that'll be a great. And then I won't have to throw it away. And it is really, really old. But you do need something to weight it. I did actually find a rock as well. That might work really well. Because you don't need anything with shape, because you're shaping it with the stuffing. But then I thought, well, if one of the grandchildren or a friend's child throws it across the room because it looks like a toy, then might cause a bit of problems. So bear with me, I'm just tucking stuffing it in. I'm using stuffing for the head and the arms and some of the body, because I'm going to stuff around the weight thing. The thing that is the weight, whatever you choose to use, whether it's gravel, you could do that. Whatever you've got, really. So there we go. And there we go. It's going to be a bit crinkly. So that's great. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this up. And I'm going to dress the poor little thing. So that's what he'll look like in the end. I've got my kilt with the apron unsewn. So I'll go around like that. And then this will tuck under. I did want it a bit smaller actually, so that you could see that it was sort of flared out. And it's probably best if I hand sew that in as well. All I need to do is just put a couple of tacks there, and then stop it, whatever you were doing, stop it. I need to tidy up my waistcoat, which I didn't do because I wanted to double check that it would fit. And there we go. So let's get him finished, and then we can do the end sequence. Yes. Okay, and decide what we're going to do with this face. Alright, so I'll be back, probably only take me 10 minutes just to trim all my ends. And, oh, he looks so forlorn with that face. It's not good. And I'll decide whether I'm going to use my cream scrap of fabric as a mask instead. Alright, okay, thank you for watching. Hello, so welcome back. I've taken the eyes off and I've done a little pinch in his face because his eyes weren't level. I think he looks okay. On his waistcoat, I've cut it down so it's a lot shorter. Have I still got the bits? Anyway, so it's a lot shorter, and I've lengthened the armholes. And, you know, I had a feeling I'd just have to adjust it. And, yes, so I have. But, yes. So I'm quite happy with that. I am going to give him a tan, okay? So other than the fact that I've decided to do a bit more, I'm going to give him a tan. Yes. Now I have got some sort of orange wool, so I could sew like loops of it on a little band to make straggly orange hair, which should just be mean and typecasted. All I'm going to do is cut 2 circles. I'm not going to do a proper one, that's another day. And I'm going to sew these together, turn them inside out, and then I'm going to put a pom-pom on them. So the machine's still set up from earlier. Yeah, I'm just looking at them now. I did tack on the skirt, but I didn't do a very good job, so I might go over that again. This is just literally 2 pieces of cloth turned into a circle, cut into a circle, and I'm just sewing around the outside. I turn it inside out. And then fold it over and just do the rest from the outside. Okay, I've got a pom-pom motor here. I bought these from eBay. They're brilliant. But I'm sure you know how to make a pom-pom. So I'm just going to do one. I didn't do it off screen because I thought, well, if you haven't seen one, then it'll be interesting. If you have seen one, then you can fast forward. I don't know. I don't know. So literally, it would look better if it was a completely shiny orange, but it's not. So we're just going to go with that. Obviously, I'm making this up as I'm going along. Get rid of that piece of cotton. Opening it up. Yeah, these work great as long as you don't overfill them. You know, so if you were doing it the old-fashioned way with a piece of cardboard, then you can make it look fluffier. Now with a small pair of scissors, I'm just cutting this through. Yes, a small pair of sharp scissors would be good. Lovely, that'll do. Yeah, this is the smallest one I've got. I could actually do with one smaller, couldn't I really? That would look quite cute. Okay, and then we just take it apart and it's done. So, let's get this all sewn on. And then my little mate's finished. I'm just trimming off some of these scraggly ends. So he probably does need a bit of tacking so his waistcoat stays round the right way. And maybe I could have made the pleats on his kilt a bit smaller. So, whoopsie. Lovely, that's going there. With this on top. So, buried my needle. Okay. I just tuck that in there. I didn't do a very good job actually. called an afterthought. And he's already been named. He's called McFeeble, as in Terry Pratchett's. And he's going to live here. He's going to go on my shelf. Yes. I don't mind. There we go. So because he's now not going to have the hard life that he was going to have as a doorstop, I don't really have to do much to tack this on, because he's just going to get dusty, really. There we are. So poor McFeeble. Nobody loves him. No. I just want to keep it tidy. There we go. Because I sewed it quite well at the bottom, but probably not at the top. Let's get him sat up. So here's McFeeble for you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've not laughed too much at my silly mistakes. And yeah, thank you ever so much for watching.